Sometimes when all alone, I get this feeling.
What's up, everybody? Miguel back with a special video. I just wanted to do this spur of the moment because I was doing some reading today on logical fallacies, and a particular logical fallacy that I haven't really touched on, which is really important. It's one of the most important logical fallacies, in my opinion, that people need to realize when they're making, and it's called the burden of proof reversal fallacy. When we're talking about a burden of proof, is basically you're saying to yourself that you're not going to believe anything until you have proof or evidence for a claim or a belief. Now, when you're reversing the burden of proof, this is a fallacy, because if somebody, for example, says the government is out to get me and they're bringing up all these trumped up charges to destroy the church and come against the Israelite nation. If you're saying something like that, you should have proof for that claim, right? What I see a lot of believers, because a believer is going to look for a reason to believe. That's the problem. You're not trying to do critical thinking to see whether what you believe is true or not. You actually have a bias, and that allows you to freely believe any claim based on the bias. So a reversal of burden of proof is when you're saying you can't prove something wrong. If somebody's making a claim and they say, well, you can't prove that my claim is wrong, therefore it's true. That doesn't make it true just because you can't prove something wrong. And furthermore, you shouldn't have to prove something wrong. If it's true, it's true. The burden of proof is supposed to be on the person making a claim. So if you make a claim, especially if it's an extraordinary claim, you should have extraordinary evidence for that claim. Saying and reversing the burden of proof and telling somebody that you can't prove something wrong, it doesn't get anybody anywhere. And you can't do that sometimes when you really analyze that way of thinking. It's fallacious, because how can you prove something that doesn't exist to be wrong? Think about it. It's like me saying, I believe there's a Martian on Pluto and his name is Marvin. And somebody comes and says, well, I don't know if I believe that. And then I come back and tell them, well, you can't prove that it's wrong, so you should believe it. That's fallacious. You shouldn't believe something just because you can't prove it wrong. You should believe in things that are already proven to be right. So what evidence does Jermaine Grant, aka Tazadakia, the cult leader, what proof does he have that the government is out to destroy him? And if you're going to use examples of others that have been, falsely accused by whatever, the government or whatever you want to claim, what does that situation have to do with Tazadaki's situation? Doesn't the FBI investigate people justly? So you're basing your belief that this is true, what Tazadaki is saying is true, off of examples of other situations, as if there can't be a real investigation going on. So it's a whole mess, because you have a bias, you have assumptions which force you to believe that this is all just a setup from the government of the United States. So this is a fallacy.